Welcome to part two. We're joined by Ken here on part two. Women love him, men want to be him. We were saying, Ken, Hrgovic.
I think the main shot for Hrgovic in that fight is his uppercut, his right uppercut up close. That's his danger shot. That's the shot he likes to set up. He kind of waits for it. He likes to null an action, likes to nullify any activity, any energy in the fight. He likes to hold on and throw those big shots around the guard up through the middle. At any time in the fight that Dubois, his head is on Hrgovic's shoulder, the fight's over.
Yeah.
The fight is over. He will throw that uppercut up the middle, and he will absolutely put Joe Joyce. He will put Daniel Dubois into button moon. That shot up the middle is devastating. It's a real devastating shot, and I think what he does when he throws that shot, it's kind of like, remember Hart Eastman was really good at throwing that shot inside, standing square on, letting the fighter's head go on the shoulder. And as soon as that head was on the shoulder, that was the trigger. That was the trigger that for the shot, right up the middle, and then right hand over the top. I think that's the shot that Hrgovic. I actually think Hrgovic could stop Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
I don't think he's smart enough to beat him.
All right. Corner man, Ken. How many voices should there be in a corner?
One.
Yeah. What happens if there's too many voices?
Well, there was Sugar Hill, there was Frank Hopkins, and there was John Fury in Tyson's corner. And it's like watching a football match, and there's like the supporters are telling them to press. Somebody's telling them to defend. You take that player. You go there. Head it over the top. No, play out from the back. No, play to the midfield. And you're hearing all these conflicting tactics, and it gets to this stage where, what do we do? What do I do? Tyson had put something out saying that he didn't think he needed to know that he was behind. I don't agree with that. As a fighter, as an instinctive fighter, you should know if you're winning or losing a fight. Instinctively, you should know if you're losing a fight. You should not have to ask Joe Blogs, am I winning the fight? Yes or no. You shouldn't even need to ask that. You should know instinctively that you're winning that fight.
Yeah. Big John played his part in corner.
What was worse, right, Russell? What was worse? John Fury dancing
to Barry White.
I actually felt embarrassed for him. No, I did. I
couldn't believe
embarrassed.
What seeing it. Well, like you thought he were having fight.
I couldn't believe it, Russell. I was, when you cringe and you just want to turn around and say, mate, what are you doing? What are you doing? I actually felt sorry for him at that moment. I did. I actually felt sorry for him at that moment. I couldn't believe it. It was like, then what happened was that the camera actually like shut off him and went on to Tyson. I couldn't believe it. I was mortified for him. I really was. I was really embarrassed for him. You'd think somebody would actually in the team would go over and say, John, come on this way. For him, looking out for him, that not let him embarrass himself. I thought it was cringeworthy. It was brutal.
But you were howling, weren't you, Kent?
I was embarrassed for him. I was actually embarrassed for the man. I genuinely was.
uh, obviously, we spoke about the judging and referee and that. The aftermath, right? Obviously, they've said they've give it to Usyk because of Ukrainian war. What did you think to that?
I thought it was disgraceful.
I couldn't
I,
believe
f-
it.
I, f- I thought it was absolutely disgraceful, Russell. Really was. It wasn't best of fair play, was it?
It wasn't bad. I mean, have they either said that to get clicks, or if they actually believe that, they're so far removed from reality, aren't they?
Then he shouted "Happy New Year."
That's because his brain was scrambled from beating he just took.
I agree with certain things that Frank Warren said yesterday in Talksport. I do, and it seems to be now that even they spoke about. I remember hearing Joe Rogan speak about this. Uh, in UFC, he would do the interviews at the end of fights. Well, he did anyway. I don't really watch much UFC now, but he did, and he said that he was finding it increasingly worrying that the amount of fighters after fights who possibly had CTE injuries, head trauma, were expected to do media right after a fight. And you're right what you're saying there. You've been in an absolute war. You've took a hiding for 12 rounds. You've been concussed, and there's a microphone getting stuck in your face, and basically the the interviewer expects you to be cognitive. During the interview, should they're expecting you to be able to process, relay relay information. They're asking them questions, and I find it increasingly worrying the amount of fighters now that straight away they're getting interviewed after fights when it's quite clear that they've been concussed.
Yeah.
But in saying that about the Ukrainian war was disgraceful. It really was. It just made him out, being concussed or not, because Joe Public or Joe Blogs watching it in the pub or watching it at home don't really understand that he's got probably concussion. So it looks really, really bad. It dampened the whole night for me. I thought it was I would like to see Tyson be more magnanimous in defeat, where he couldn't even accept the fact that he lost that fight. Now, if you've triggered your rematch clause and you can't accept that you have lost that fight, how are you going to get better for the rematch?
You're not, are you?
No. So it's not going to be the same, is it?
No. Do you think he looked fit enough, Kent?
I thought it's this old saying that he aesthetically he's not an Evander Holyfield. Aesthetic wise, he's not. But he looked a lot better shape than he did in the Ngannou fight. He looked in a lot better shape than he did in the Dillian White fight, if you would even call that a fight. So he looked a lot trimmer. He looked a bit stronger, but I think Fury is, as I say, he's went through that amount of wear and tear. And as you get older as an athlete, wear and tear as an athlete, you need to be able to adapt to your training. Your recovery needs to be better. I thought he looked old against Ngannou. I thought in parts of that fight on Saturday night, I thought he looked like an aged fighter. For me, you can tell what the aged fighter is the fine motor skills of reflexes aren't as good, so you get hit more. Your balance isn't as good. Your his proprioceptors aren't as good now, which regulates the balance of the body. That's not as good. So you could see a fighter as aging is by balance. I remember John Breen, the great trainer from Belfast, used to say that the first thing he noticed when a fighter started, deteriorating was their balance. And you can quite see that with Fury.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, if someone is throwing less feints, as we've said, he doesn't seem to get on his toes no more? Do you think that's why he keeps getting dropped?
He's not as reactive. He's too heavy-footed. And as well, it's the balance. It's not. He's not getting dropped because he's not throwing feints. I think if he was still throwing feints, he would still be getting dropped, Russell.
Yeah.
I think the feints is a defensive mechanism to set up an engagement or draw out an engagement for offense. But I think the punch resistance with his balance is not as good as it was 2 or 3 years ago.
No.
It's quite clear. It's evident.
You'd have Joshua to beat him then.
Yeah, I would. I think Joshua would stop him.
Do you think it's Big Freeze against Fury is a good fight?
Fraser Clark isn't that level, Russell.
No.
No, I don't think. I don't think there would be the demand. Why would you as Tyson Fury be fighting Alexander Usyk for 40 million to go and fight Fraser Clark, who's British level?
What about down the line?
I think Fury's 1 or 2 fights left.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm not being disrespectful towards Fraser Clark. I actually thought he beat Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley's one of my favourite fighters. I thought he was brilliant in that fight.
If you thought he beat Fabio Wardley, he'd have a world ranking, wouldn't he? So, and Fury's not got a belt, so he'll have a world ranking. So I was just thinking, well, why not?
You don't know, Russell, because does the rematch?
Anything's possible, isn't it? If they're going to throw Ngannou in against Fury, so
of course, is it? They're talking about he's triggered the rematch clause, but is it an immediate rematch clause? Is there a rematch clause that's 18 months? We don't know that.
Yeah, we don't, do we?
No, we don't know that.
It's all fractured, isn't it? And now belts are going to get split up. Do you think, Kent?
The IBF will be the first. The IBF will be, it's no secret that everybody knows that will be the IBF first. The IBF did it with Lennox Lewis back in the day. They did it like a week after it. So they've done it with Fury before when he unified. So they're pretty strict on mandatories, which is fair play. If fighters are paying their sanctioning fees for their mandatories, they should be able to fight for a world title. So I've no gripe with that. We've got a lineal champion. It's the first lineal champion since Lennox Lewis. It's great to say that, but I can't ever see this ever happening again.
No.
Not for 4 belt, never.
What do you think to my video when I said all the Brits, Joyce, Dubois, Joshua, Fury, Chisora, Bellew, all them boys, they all could have a round robin, couldn't they? Usyk's leftovers.
Get Turkey Al Sheikh to make one of those belts for them.
Hey, that'd be an howler, wouldn't it? Hey.
Yeah, well, Tony Bellew coming out of retirement. Tony.
Don't get greedy, Tony. Don't get
greedy, Tony.
Sounded like a Mexican there, Kent. Don't give
Well,
up the day job, Ken.
I think I don't know what yeah, it's funny. It's like, what do they get? What's the slaps of the slaps of Usyk? You know what a fighter he is. He is an absolute phenomenon, Russell. He really is. He's my favorite fighter. He's the best fighter in the world. He's possibly one of the greatest fighters ever, if not the greatest. When I talk about the greatest fighter, the heavyweight anyway, I talk about great fighters. I look at Sugar Ray Robinson, the original Sugar Man. For me, he's the greatest fighter of all time. Roberto Duran, pound for pound, greatest lightweight ever. You look at Salvatore Sanchez, the greatest featherweight fighter of all time. You look at Carlos Monzon, the great middleweight. You know, you've got all these great fighters, you know, in history, and they've all got unique qualities. And the great thing about these great fighters is they're unique. They're unique fighters. All them guys there have all got something that is really unique about them. And Usyk has those qualities. He is a unique human, a unique fighter. I think he's a man of honor. He's a great person. You just seen him talk about uh, grief and the passing of his father. He's just he's a great person. He is the person that sport needs.
Yeah, yeah,
He is. He's the person that humanity needs, Russell, never mind sport.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Getting back to Tyson Fury, do you feel that basically we were conned by him all these years, making out he did this and that, and really, when you look at his CV, it doesn't warrant the hype, does it?
Just go back to the first John McDermott fight, Russell. Go and watch it again.
I've
You
seen
know,
it.
I tell people, go and watch that fight. It is a deception. Sports a deception at times. We're told that, you know, this Man City team is the greatest team ever, the best team ever. No, they're not. I don't think they would have beat the Manchester United side of '99. Ronnie O'Sullivan's the greatest snooker player ever. Roger Federer's the greatest tennis player ever. A week later, Djokovic is the greatest player ever. So it's all about opinions. It's all about people's ideas of what makes them the best. But you look at number wise, you look at Alexander Usyk, you look at Fury. Fury has been dropped by a lot of fighters. I think it's 5 fighters now. There's Nevin dropped him. Steve Cunningham dropped him. Deontay Wilder's dropped him.
8 times. He's had 8 counts now, hasn't he?
Hergovich is sorry, not Hergovich.
And
Alexander
Ghana,
Usyk is, and Ghana's dropped him
Wilder
heavily.
4 times. Wilder 4 times.
Like it's been like the Fury deception the last lot of years, and I think that if you look at the boxing people, they'll not be conned by that. They'll not be conned by that because I've been saying for 2 years on this channel that Usyk would beat him, and so have you.
Yeah.
So have you. So we're boxing people. We're not going to be conned by that. But it's the guy in the pub. It's the guy in the gym. It's the guy in Five-A-Sides. It's the guy on the building site. It's the guy in the office. They're the guys who've been lied to. They're the guys that have fell into that deception. It's not actually the boxing media. The boxing, well, apart from obviously Colin Hart, he's been calling it out, you know, for a couple of years as well. It's not actually the proper boxing people. The boxing media will say he's this, he's that, but they have to say that because if they don't say that, they don't get access. They don't have a job. They don't have a press pass. So that's why they say it. But has the proper boxing public, the boxing hardcores, have they been lied to? Has there been a deception with them? I don't think so.
Now they've all bought into all that hype and Netflix knackers, aren't they?
I haven't even watched any next not Netflix documentary or program. I don't want to watch all that crap. I want to watch fighters. I want to watch boxing. I don't
Somebody,
care what.
somebody sent me an email and they said Big John Fury reminds them of Michael Jackson's dad. Putting them all to graft.
Don't even know. Don't even know what Michael Jackson's dad looks like.
No, I mean in his mannerisms and that. Do you know what I mean? Kent,
No.
forget it, Kent. You're from a different era. Joe Jackson, aka John Fury. It's the point. Kent, don't ever give up the fucking day job.
Oh, comedy's not my thing, Russell. I actually think I'm getting better at comedy.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're a fucking funny bloke, you Kent.
You used to say I was like a block of ice on here. I think my personality's coming through a wee bit more.
Yeah, Kent, you're mesmerising. Kent,
or lack of.
You're mesmerising. You remind me of one of the characters after Train Spotting.
Which one, Begbie?
Begbie.
Don't say. Don't say
Spud.
don't say Spud. Let me.
Where's that Spud?
What a great film Train Spotting was, Russell, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's a Begbie in every village, isn't there?
Begbie. Did you watch the second one?
I've seen them both, mate. Both good films.
What did you think of the second one?
Thought it were all right. I like that credit card one they did with where they pickpockets them all and they all had the same pin number. That were a good gag.
Very good. It was brilliant. Very funny. Very good. Great film. Great pop culture there, and that, and especially the scene, the opening scene of films is the part in films that is going to get you to keep you watching, get you into the film, and that opening scene of Ewan McGregor running down the high street, getting chased and robbing, with Iggy Pop in the background. That's just an iconic scene of film, isn't it? It's iconic. Brilliant scene.
Yeah. The aftermath, Bricktop and whatnot. You obviously seen him and Simon Jordan going at it.
I think Frank Warren's going to need tranquilizers.
He looked like he was going to blow a gasket, didn't he, Bricktop?
He needs to calm down. He needs to calm down. Really does. He's going to blow a gasket. Angry Frank Warren is just, he's non-stop, isn't he? Is he absolutely non-stop? He is crazy. Frank Warren at that is just, it's like he goes into pure Bricktop mode, doesn't he? Where he's wanting to feed people the pigs, but he just needs to calm down. The fight's over. Nothing's going to be, and you have to admire his loyalty. That's one thing about Frank Warren. He'll get behind his fighters, but he just needs to chill out, Russell.
He needs to do something to blow a gasket, old Bricktop.
Think about it. Arsenal lost the league at the weekend as well, so
yeah,
it hasn't been the best of weekend for him either. Like, has it? With Arsenal and Fury, so you have to give him some leeway there.
I'm sure Bricktop had a good weekend with his commission off that Saudi show.
I don't think he would have done too bad from it. I don't think they all would have done too bad from it, Russell.
Yeah. Big shout out to Porky's International, our other YouTube channel. Subscribe and like and have a watch. Some good stuff coming up. Do you think Chisora's washed up, Kent?
I think Chisora was washed up 4 years ago.
He's talking comebacks.
Who's he going to fight?
Somebody for a lot of money.
Well, of course he's talking comebacks. He's in Saudi and he wants a big payoff. Of course he does. And to be fair, he's saying, I have fought everyone. Everyone. I fought Usyk, I fought Fury, I fought everybody, down the ladder. I've had wins, I've had losses. I've paid my dues. I want my payoff. I want my money. And he's right. This, what's wrong with wanting a big payoff in Saudi? It's nothing wrong with that. It's where everybody wants to fight and then everybody wants to get paid. Boxing in America is gonna really struggle this next few years. Really struggle.
You reckon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think?
Well, where would you want to go? Would you want to go fight for 5 times more money or go and fight for a standard fee?
Yeah, well, where fans are going to be in all this though, because not all fans are going to be able to afford to keep going over there, are they?
Same as Vegas, Russell. They can't afford to go to Vegas all the time. Same. It's the same. It's the same thing. If the big fights are over there, people are going to go and watch it.
So do you think this Saudi thing could be a bad thing, Ken?
I don't know. I don't know what the lifespan of it is. You've got the golf, which they're throwing all sorts at. The live golf. They've got the football, which isn't really taken off, but people are going, players are going to get paid. I think the next move will probably be NFL, which is a big brand. You've got the darts has played there in Bahrain. You've got the snooker that's played there. Now the boxing's over there. So it looks like a mecca sport. Now, how long it lasts is another thing. What are they actually getting from these events? What's the travel and tourism like? Time will tell. But at the minute, it looks like the hotbed of boxing in world sport is Saudi.
Yeah. Well, they're hammering it with football, aren't they? Steven Gerrard's on $500,000 a week.
And he can't win a game over there. He couldn't win a game in the Premier League, never mind over there, but that's a different story.
Villa have done well since they got rid of him.
Villa have done remarkably well. Emery's come in, had his brand of football, a style of football that's really good to watch, really hard to break down. He's an absolutely brilliant coach, Emery. He hasn't really brought in many players. And that same year that when Gerrard took over, he actually got them into Europe. I think did he get them into Europe that year? I'm not sure. I'll be corrected in the comment section. But you look where they were when Emery took over and where they finished in that same season. He's a fantastic manager. I know he didn't make it at Arsenal, but you're in that first season syndrome where you're coming in behind a great manager. It's really hard to get established, but he's done very, very well at Villa. It's fantastic to see. I hope they do really well in Europe next year. I think it's great for the Premier League that other clubs are actually getting better and getting stronger.
McGuigan and Frampton, do you think they'll have a Berry Hatchet?
Never.
No.
Never. Why should they?
Yeah.
That there's business, then there's personal, and it's not about business now. It's Card's pretty headstrong, and why should he want to bury the hatchet with McGuigan when they had to go to court? I can't really talk too much on it because I don't want to end up in the shit myself, but that relationship is, if you want to know about it, Russell, if you want to know about it, buy the book, read the book, and it'll tell you everything you need to know.
Oh, Frampton.
It's actually it's a super book, Russell. I would recommend anybody on this channel to buy Carl Frampton's book. It is a fantastic read. It really, really is. It's a brilliant read. Go and buy it, please. It's probably one of the best biographical books. It's autobiography. It's the best autobiography that I've read. It's super. It really is. He speaks it in his own language, how he would speak. It is a fantastic book. Go and buy it.
You see, there's two sides to every story, isn't there? Isn't there really? But is Frampton saying McGuigan basically were robbing him?
Just go and read the book, and the book will tell you everything you need to know. So, well, people going and getting sunbeds and taking it out of his expenses. People aren't even in the camp. Just go. If anybody wants to know parts of what went on, go and buy Clark Frampton's book and read that. It will tell you everything you need to know. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad how it's ended up for them, everything they achieved, isn't it? Especially with son training Frampton.
Well, technically it started off he wasn't training Frampton. It was Jerry Story and Jerry Story Jr. And there was actually somebody else training Frampton as well who looked after fighters for Barry McGuigan. And basically he was like a ghost in the background. Then basically before the Kiko Martinez European fight, they basically said to Jerry, no, Shane's doing the corner tonight. And that was it. Barry went, obviously, Carr went over and started training in London. And the rest is history. But when somebody does wrong by you, on so many different ways and so many different, things that have occurred, why would you want to bury the hatchet with somebody like that?
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, Barry McGuigan is one of the rudest people I've ever met in my life. He's horrible. He is a horrible person. Yes, Barry brought people together during the Troubles in Northern Ireland during a terrible time. And he didn't get involved in politics and was for the people. Great. United people, great fighter. But what I know of Barry and the amount of times I met him, he was one of the most rudest people I've ever met in my life.
I've always thought he comes across all right, Barry McGuigan.
Well, he was really rude to me once, and he was horrible, absolutely horrible. It's that old saying, don't ever meet your idols. That's why it says in the Bible, don't idol worship. Barry McGuigan was one of the rudest people I've ever met in my life.
Do you remember the Barry McGuigan crisps?
Barry's rings. I'll tell you what about Barry McGuigan, that they talk about Barry McGuigan being that great. He didn't want to fight Azuma Nelson, did he?
No.
Didn't want to fight Salvador Sanchez, did he?
No. Well, I think it were all timing with them fights, wasn't it? He fought Pedrosa though, didn't he?
He fought Pedrosa after 18 defenses and coming to the end of his career at home. Yeah. He would never have beaten Azuma Nelson. Never in a wildest dreams. Never.
Well, he did have a good record. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's all right being in the Hall of Fame, but never mind that. I would rather be a good person and a nice person, treat people with respect. And what would you rather have? Be in the Hall of Fame or be an absolutely horrible person? I'd rather be a good person than be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything you want to say about the Saudi show? What you were happy with and what you were not happy with?
I just don't like the break before the fight. I don't like all that rapping and bringing all these guests on to do. I know they're trying to put on an event. They're trying to build something, but I think you just need to get on with it. And I think sometimes the fights are too late. 11:30, 11:45 is a bit late. I like 11 o'clock for me. 10:30, 11 is ideal time. You know, especially when you want to sit down after it and watch the press conference and watch the aftermath. You know, if you're watching the aftermath and press conference, you're going to be up to about 2 a.m. Like I had work the next morning at 8:30, so I had to get to bed pretty quick. But it's positive the fights are happening. It's positive the fights are on that bit earlier rather if it was American. You have to get up at 4 and 5 in the morning, which is terrible. It racks you for 2 days. I don't like doing it. But I suppose being on at 11:30 is better than being on at 4:30.
Yeah, it is. All right then, mate. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Ken.
Peace out.
You have a great day. All right, cheers, mate. Mate. Well, that were Kent from Ireland. Women love him, men want to be him. And that's about it. Okie dokie. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And thanks for subscribing to our sister channel, Porky's International, YouTube. Okie dokie.